So, getting from that to a film that has literally just opened, but everyone's raving about. Can I ask, have you had a chance to go and watch X-Men Days of Future Past yet?
I did. I saw it yesterday, and I want to say I really did like it. I
Mm,
think I mean, for me, I didn't love Captain America as much as everyone else. I thought it was a really good movie, but I really don't like Captain America that much. I
yeah.
love Chris Evans, but I'm just not into the character that much, so I wasn't into the movie as much. But with X-Men, I really did like it. Was it the best movie I've ever seen? No, but I thought it was a really cool sequel to First Class.
Mm.
I really liked it.
I think that's what needs to be taken away from it. I mean, this is pretty much a sequel to First Class, which undoubtedly is probably one of the best. Is probably one of the best X-Men movies.
Yes,
Or probably the best. But
agree.
what I found confusing watching the film was the only moments where, I mean, obviously British talent is right throughout the film, but what I felt really unhinged me, I'm like saying I only care when they go back to the 70s, like the future people. Although I like the characters, I'm like, yeah, I'm not really connected with you. I mean, Kitty Pryde, yeah, she gets a power literally out of nowhere, which
Oh, we'll talk. Yeah, Kitty Pride. I definitely want to talk
yeah,
about.
we'll get onto her in a second. But like, Bishop wasn't really expanded upon. They just threw him in there just to show Bishop. Like, they showed Blink, which I thought was cool, but just threw her in there, and then Sunspot, and then Iceman, and poor Anna Paquin being completely cut from the film, apart from the final
And apart
spoilers.
from like, hey, Bobby and Roger together.
Yeah, I mean
um,
that was one of the. This film just confuses me entirely because Fassbender, McAvoy, and they are the two shining lights of this film, along with Sarah McKellen, Sir Patrick Stewart. The one overall feeling I can take from the film is that I'm glad it's not solely focused on Wolverine for the umpteenth millionth time. That
yeah,
it's got more than one main character, which I really enjoyed.
I think for me, the reason I couldn't give it 5 stars because I really enjoy the movie, but is because of the future stuff. I think they could have used like 10 minutes of that and not really concentrate on it as much as they did. And I think, yeah, McAvoy did a great job. Fassbender did a great job too. I like Mystique's character, even though I don't think it's Jennifer Lawrence's best performance. I liked her character here. And I thought since they concentrated so much on the past and seeing this as a sequel of First Class, it was really good for me. And
Mm,
I like that it wasn't really a Wolverine movie. He was more of the catalyst than anything. Like he
yeah.
wasn't the main character. He was definitely a catalyst in the movie. And that's what made me enjoy it. I just thought I had a really fun time with it, especially with the past stuff. Do I think it was a little bit long? Yeah, I think that was a problem. It was about 25 minutes too long for me.
Yeah.
And if you cut out some of the future stuff, it would have been a better movie. But I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot, and I think it's probably the best superhero movie I saw this year. But that's not saying much because nothing really blew my mind this year.
Well, we've got something to come later, but give me your opinions on Kitty Pryde then. Let loose. What do you think was wrong with her?
Honestly, I think first of all in X-Men 3, someone made a comment about this in my review that I just posted. They said that she was just like the other girl, and I totally agree with that because she's one of my favorite characters of all time, right next to Spider Girl. And also Ellen Page, I feel like doesn't really depict Kitty. Kitty's like this fun person who is sarcastic at times, but she's a fun X-Men. She was the youngest X-Men, and Ellen Page doesn't do that.
Hmm.
And I just don't think she's a really great for superhero movies. I liked her in Inception, I like her in Juno because those are the characters she's playing, and those are the type of characters she should be playing. But she's not really a Kitty Pryde. And yeah, it is the script's fault too because they didn't really do much with her. They put her on the sideline, but could she hold her own movie is my question. Did they need to switch it with Wolverine? I would say yeah, because no one could connect with Kitty because they didn't do Kitty right in the first place in
Yeah.
X-Men 3. So they screwed that up years ago. So I think they needed Wolverine because that's the character people are going to connect with. But yeah, I had a lot of problems with Kitty in general in the movie franchise. I don't think they do her right.
Including the new power that she completely got out of nowhere. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, I didn't know phasing could do that, but fine.
I mean, I think that was my problem. I mean, I mean, out of total, I think who do you think performed? I mean, we all said yeah, we really liked everyone, like some of the British and the '80s and the first class crew. Who was the best actor of the film? Do you think? Because I still can't work out who actually performed that great for me.
Um, that's a good one. I think there are some MVPs that didn't perform great, but was surprising. I want to say Nicholas Hoult as Beast played a really good Beast,
Hmm.
and Quicksilver really surprised me. Like I wouldn't want to know
Oh,
the movie at all, but he was really fun.
the amount of rubbish that was thrown at that as soon as they released that Empire cover, the amount of hate that was heaped on that character was unbelievable.
Yeah, he definitely got a lot of hate, but I liked him in the film. Again, I would not be able to take him for 2 hours, but the amount of time he was in the film, he was pretty cool.
Yeah. For me, I honestly think, apart from Fassbender and Fassbender and McAvoy, I'd have to say Peter Dinklage did quite a good role in as Bolivar Trask. Really,
He was kind of cool. You wouldn't notice it was him, but he was pretty. Even though he wasn't in it totally, he did a good job.
Yeah, I mean, as some of the cast were just like in the background. I mean, Halle Berry was only like literally there for like 2 or 3 scenes.
She was there to die pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's it, which is a shame because she's a good Storm. Like she's definitely one of those characters that was best casted as the superhero role.
Yeah, I mean, what I found really quite funny is the fact that they make no secret that she's going to die from the actual trailer. I mean, they show that literally the shot that she dies in, which I found quite funny. I was like, yeah, way to ruin your sense of suspense there. But so Days of Future Past, I think overall as a rating, I would say it's probably second or just thereabouts to, I mean, probably second to First Class. But as a sequel to it, it was a pretty good sequel. I'll give it that. It was better than I thought it was going to be. That's really the point of it. Although that's not saying much when I was really not looking forward to it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I was, again, pleasantly surprised with it because I thought they were going to focus more on the future, which I'm glad they didn't because I thought that was really the boring part of it. But I had a lot of fun with it. And I think if you go in there just knowing, just have fun with it, and it is a sequel of First Class, don't think it's like both X-Men movies. I think you're going to be disappointed if you think that.
Yeah.
I gave it a 4.25. I couldn't go 4.5 because I don't think it was like a brilliant movie.
Yeah.
But I couldn't give it 4 because I thought it was better than a solid movie. So I want to give it like a 4.25 because I really did enjoy it. I liked a lot of performances. I wish we got to see a little bit more Jennifer Lawrence, but I liked it overall.
Yeah, I'll just mull over a rating soon when I actually release my review of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting on from that, we have to wait, let's say about 2 months for the next one, which is Guardians of the Galaxy. With the new trailer has just been released, and I think the overall reaction to it is that I think people just cannot wait for this movie to come out. What are your opinions of the Guardians film? Do you think it's going to be enjoyable?
I think it will. I mean, I'm not a humongous Guardians fan, but I'm starting to get into the characters with the Marvel Now title. But I like the trailers a lot. I really think Peter Quill, with, why can't I think of his name right now? The guy from Parks and Rec and
Chris Pratt.
like a movie. Yeah, Chris Pratt. I think he's a perfect Peter Quill. I love him as that. I'm still really trying to see Bradley Cooper as a good Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah.
Because when I first saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, okay. I never really pictured his voice to sound like that. Maybe I'll get used to it.
Yeah.
Groot was awesome in the trailer. Gamora, I think might be the biggest problem because I feel like they're just putting her as a love interest.
Yeah,
and,
that's kind of my greatest fear about her role in this as well.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing I'm most scared of. But I'm really looking forward to it. It has a really nice vibe to it, and it could show that B-list characters could get movies too. So that's why I'm really rooting for it more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, some of the characters that I'm most looking forward to are actually the villains. I mean, Ronan the Accuser for the first time, which is going to be fun. I mean, that's introducing a whole new set of stories to the new Marvel universe, because you have like the Kree, and obviously the Kree can get moved over to mainly TV. I mean, Shield could introduce. I mean, they've sort of introduced that already. I mean, whatever that thing was in the tube,
which I think a lot of people are guessing are Kree, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main guess from that is either what I've seen is people say it's either a Kree or it's an Atlantean, but I don't. I mean, I like the mystery of it. It's kind of it's making me think maybe they're bringing more of the movies into the TV series, but I'm fine with that.
Yeah, for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think that's what they needed, because that's what their show's about, so.
On to TV now. I'll leave animated shows till the end of this part, so let's talk about... We'll leave Arrow for a while as well, so I want to leave that for a second.
Sounds good.
The new trailer for Gotham, the TV show that's before Batman, even though it's got some of his villains as a prequel in a way, honestly, I think that actually looks the most promising series I've seen for a while, that looks actually quite fun and dark and interesting, to be honest.
See, I have the total opposite from you. I think that's the one I'm like least looking forward to, and the one I'm most looking forward to is like Flash, honestly. So like if I had to go in order, it'd probably be Flash, iZombie, um, Constantine, and then Gotham.
Or
I don't know.
I can
Gotham has a
yeah.
weird vibe to me. I don't know if it's gonna work.
Yeah.
I don't know what direction they're going with it. And Fox really scares me.
Yeah.
So that's what really worries me. And I feel like the younger versions of the villains, I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm
Yeah.
scared for it. I'm keeping an open mind, definitely, but I'm a little scared.
I'm
I don't
keeping an open mind for now, but like some of the villains that they're introducing, I mean, it'd be interesting to see the Penguin. I mean, that's one of the ones I'm really interested in.
mhm.
And I mean, honestly, to see like Jim Gordon as like he was before, I mean, I'm looking for keep an open mind, but I'm looking forward to it sort of. And then you have like something like Constantine, which I'm actually that's the one series that I'm actually really wanting to watch. I mean,
Yeah, that shocked me, that trailer, because I don't even like the character that much, and I
mm,
wasn't expecting anything. But the visuals are great, and the day they're putting on with Grimm, that's a great pairing, and I was
mm.
shocked by it. It looks good.
Matthew Ryan is actually a really good actor. He's been in some good stuff back in England. I mean, I think he's going to be perfect for the role. I mean, I mean, from the trailer, it already looks like he's going to be well suited to the role itself. I mean, what are your opinions of him on as a whole, really,
I was
beginning with?
I was really impressed by his character and the way he's portraying it. It seems like he looks like Constantine. He
Mm.
really got into the character. That's another thing that just impressed me was him. Again, the visuals, the tone, and him. I'm looking forward to it. I think this could be a show that's going to shock a lot of people after this trailer. It really kind of exploded in a way because a lot more people know about it.
Oh, it exploded ridiculous. I mean, I think it was on like Twitter's top trends for like it was in like the top three for over a week, which I found completely like surprising. For like for Constantine, for to be fair, it's not one of the most well known characters in the. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, far from it.
but like it looks promising. TV shows as a whole, Constantine looks very promising and interesting. Gotham's kind of in the middle, and then the Flash to me. All right, we'll go on to Arrow before we get onto the Flash. So, like I said before at the start, we spoke before, and I had never watched Arrow before, but I'd seen promos and reviews and loads of different stuff for it. The second season has finished. Stuff has happened. Overall, I watched the first season and I watched the second season.
Hmm.
What I can honestly say from someone who had never expected to watch the show in the first place, from the premise that it was actually trying to present, for me, overall, I thought it was trying to do too much too soon, and I'll explain why. What I felt the first season lacked, I mean, I felt that the island scenes were grating enough to watch themselves. But when they actually got back to the city, I'm like, okay, I can get into this, and then they go back to civilized life, and I'm like, I just started getting into the main like the action, and it was getting up and down, and then when John Barrowman's character is who I actually really quite liked as
No, he's great. I love
yeah
Merlin.
as Merlin, what I kind of really it just really didn't feel like a cohesive series for the first season.
Yeah, first season, I always recommend, honestly, people not to watch the first season because I don't really love the first season. It's like one of those things you have to get through,
Mm,
just to kind of get the gist of the show. I think season two was loads better.
yeah, getting on to season two, I will say automatically the actor who played Deathstroke and Slade Wilson,
Mhm.
I think he was the one guy who's actually keeping me coming back to watch that show. I think he did really well in that role. I mean, hope he comes back. I'll look forward to do if he does. I mean, but then some of the stuff that got introduced, I'm like, yeah, I really don't like that direction. I mean, when they introduced Wally West, I mean, sorry, Barry Allen for
He does act like Wally, so I
yeah.
don't
I mean,
take.
when they introduced Barry Allen, I'm like, yeah, this is just like an advertisement for the show, like, for the new show that's coming up, and I'm like, I don't buy what they're selling. And then they introduced Black Canary, and then they brought in the Suicide Squad for some reason.
Oh, the Suicide Squad, I will agree, was not good. That was one of the worst episodes, right next to Huntress, who's a horrible character too.
I mean, but that's the point. Huntress is a character. Some of her books in the past have been really, really good, and then she's brought into this TV show from what I guess is like a vengeful lover, which I thought, what the hell? I mean, Helena Bertinelli was never that in the comics, but then they presented her in this light, and everyone's like, oh, she's just whining. I'm like, no, she isn't. If you read her in the comics, you could see she would kick someone's ass at a second's notice.
Yeah, I think there's some things, like you were saying, like, I don't think they did Suicide Squad right. Don't think they did Huntress right. I liked the twist they did with Black Canary. I really liked how they added Sarah into it, and I still don't see Laurel as Black Canary, and that's kind of a problem. But I like adding Roy. Really like Felicity, and I like where Thea's going. Honestly, as a big Thea Dearden fan, I really like the directions she's going because we know she's going to be Speedy. As a Green Arrow fan, so I like seeing that. I really like seeing what they're going to do in the what we know as the Green Arrow universe, where it seems like they're following more of the John Winnick stuff. And then what are they going to change? And I honestly like that they were going so fast. I like that things that we thought were going to happen in season 5, they're doing in season 2. It makes the show grow a lot faster, and I was always on the edge of my seat with the show, and that's what I loved about it. And again, there are characters I just really cared for. I think Oliver became a much better character in season 2 than he did in season 1.
God, yes. You can tell the actor improved from the criticism he got.
Oh, yeah, he definitely did, and I like that he cares about his fans too, which is great to see. If you follow him on Facebook, I think he's the most involved with this show like ever. He said he was like next to like eating lunch or something, and he heard someone talking about the show, and he went up to them and said, hey, I play Oliver Queen, and he had a discussion with them. So like, he really cares about his fans, and I really respect that about him. And I think that's why he perfected his acting in a way, because he just became such a better actor with season 2, and hopefully season 3, season 4, he'll improve even more.
So, I'm going to test you now. So, I'm going to ask you the top 2 things that you liked about both the second season, but then the top 2 that you hated about the second season as well.
Cool.
But you can't include the Suicide Squad, because that's...
No, I can't include the Suicide Squad, okay.
No. Right, so go ahead. So I'll do mine in a bit, but I want to hear yours first.
All right. Top 2, I would say what they did with Thea's character. I really like that they made Malcolm her father, and I like the direction she's going. And then another one, I really like what they did with Sarah, bringing her back, the League of Assassins, all of that. I think they did a great job with. It was one of my favorites. I could probably add more into the best list, but those are 2 things I could really think of I loved. 2, I really hate that Birds of Prey episode. They shouldn't have used that name. It wasn't a good episode. And I don't like Dig-centric episodes. I like the character, but I don't think he could hold his own episode. And that kind of goes into Suicide Squad, because that was his centric episode. And I don't think he's a strong enough character to do that.
Yeah.
And those are my 4, technically.
All right, so my 2 favorite moments from that season were the kind of the rise of Deathstroke, the initial to the reveal of what he was. I thought that was very well done.
Oh yeah, again, if my list was longer, that Deathstroke would definitely be on it.
Yeah, and kind of my second point, bringing back Malcolm Merlyn and showing Thea her path to becoming Speedy, or Artemis, or whatever they're going to call her. I think that's going to be really fun with what they do with her next season. I mean, she's possibly going to be like one of the anti-heroes, or possibly an anti-hero for the next season, or until she joins. I hate saying it, but Team Arrow. but the 2 things that I really, really... I'd say when they introduced... I'm going to really annoy myself because I can't remember her name, but the character's name is Isabel Rochev.
Right, oh yeah, with Summer Glau.
Yeah, Summer Glau, that was it. When they introduced her character at the start of the season, she was kind of interesting, which I kind of thought I hit on. I was like, yeah, she seems quite interesting. Like, obviously, she's going to be a bit important later on. And then they turned her into Ravager, and then they killed her in the kind of untriumphantly in the final episode, which, I'm a big Ravager fan, and that was kind of like saying, yeah, we just threw her in there just for namesake and enjoy it while it lasts.
Well, with Arrow, one thing I will say, because I totally agree with your Ravager point, I really thought she was going to be Rose. I thought they were going to do a lot of stuff with that. But what they do with the show is that they'll add a character like Black Canary and say, well, that's not actually our Black Canary. It'll be someone else. It definitely will be Laurel. And that could be for Ravager. Maybe Rose is still out there
Hmm.
and she'll take the Ravager name. And Isabel was the first Ravager, but doesn't mean she is the Ravager.
Yeah.
So I think that's something they might be doing with that. Because I agree. That was very unsatisfying, especially for an actress like Summer Glau, who is such a geek culture actress that everyone loves and a great actress too. And just like not really utilizing her was very upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, but then the second thing that I really, really hated was, I really, it was the episode where it just focused entirely on. I mean, although you liked the League of Assassins episode, and I liked the way they went with it, like of Nissa Al Ghul, what I hated was the fact that they keep on referring to the actual League of Assassins and how they're watching someone, or that I don't like the theme of it being, yes, Batman's somewhere in the background, but we can't mention him because he's not to us. What I don't like is how they say, yes, yes, we'll bring in villains like Deadshot and Harley Quinn, although she's not Harley Quinn because you never see her face, so we can get away with that. That was one of the things that kind of annoyed me. The fact that they say, yes, we're using like Green Arrow or DC Universe characters, but I'm like saying I hate the feeling that there's a hero somewhere in the background that is sat there and is like saying, oh yeah, we can grab all of his villains and throw them in this one, but because as you said, yeah, they're not ours, but they're going to be them.
I kind of like the twist they're using with Arrow, but I agree. I feel like they use way too many Batman villains and even Teen Titans villains. Look at Deathstroke. He's not really a Green Arrow villain.
Yeah, he's a
Titans
Teen
villain.
Titan villain, really.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird to see that. But honestly, you could also say Green Arrow just doesn't have enough villains, and especially enough known villains. So I can understand why they're utilizing other characters. And I think with Harley Quinn, they just didn't use her because they're referencing her because they're going to use her in the future.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what they're doing. But I can agree with you. It's kind of weird that they reference. But I think that's more just references to the comic book fans, and I think that's what they're trying to do with that. And yes, maybe they'll utilize them in the future, and they do that a lot. Like with Deathstroke, he was mentioned in season 1, and then he became a big villain in season 2. So I think they just have a lot planned for future seasons, and they want to like throw things in there for rewatching purposes.
Yeah. So going on from that, there's a new show coming to the CW focused on another DC well-known hero, The Flash. You can tell by my voice that I'm so psyched for it. Well,
I personally think it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
I really like the trailer. So Iris, not so much, but I hope it's good. I like the way they were going with it.
Yeah.
So
what I can say positively about the trailer is the fact that they're introducing the character from a good starting point, so it allows people to catch on pretty quickly and slowly as they like. And the fact that they're not throwing his... I mean, what I saw from the trailer is that Weather Wizard is in it, but no, that's not him, it's his brother, which kind of says, oh yeah, so maybe his brother becomes Weather Wizard, and that's somewhere in the future. What I think is the problem with it is the fact that they say, yes, this seems popular, let's just go ahead for it. And then there's the suit. Yeah. See, I don't like the Flash suit.
I'm okay with it because I feel like they really couldn't do better in a way because like spandex can it work on a TV show?
Not
I don't know.
really. But
Yeah, exactly. So that's why they didn't really do it in Smallville,
Yeah.
and kind of have to do spandex. So I think they did the best they could. I personally like the suit, and I like the whole Weather Wizard thing because I feel like it's just them referencing to the Rogues,
Yeah.
and they're gonna do the Rogues because they're so important, but they're building up to that.
yeah. I think the only problem I have with I think it's just the colouring of the suit, which really I don't really like it. I mean, if it was a bit brighter, yeah, I'd like it. But I think it's like one of those shows that I will wait and see if it turns out well. I mean, they've only filmed. I think obviously that's the pilot that they've pretty much shown you in the trailer, or the second, or the two seasons of. Two episodes of they're going to show. But obviously, I'll wait and see how it goes. But we'll pick and choose on that. But then that kind of brings us on to the opposite end of the spectrum, which is on Shield, and that's just literally just come to an end on its first season, and it had a bit of an explosive finale with secrets being revealed and roles being changed. On an overall opinion, what did you think of Shield as a whole?
As a whole, the beginning first three quarters I thought were really slow. There was a point where I actually dropped the series, and then right after Captain America, it got really good. I liked what they did with Sky, loved what they did with Ward, and I really started to like the show again. And it was a solid, good ending. The last episode was pretty good, but there was a lot of unsatisfying things to me because I thought they should reveal the whole Sky thing. I don't really want it to overlap to season two because then they're just extending the story too much. And then I was very intrigued what Agent Coulson was writing on the wall. And which is probably something to do with Kree because Guardians of the Galaxy is coming
I
out.
think the main rumor is that maybe he's Captain Marvel, which, I could see that.
Yeah, I could see it also. I personally like the show, but the beginning was very, very slow, and even the writers admitted they didn't find their footing. And once they did, it was a solid show, and I like it a lot now, and I'm looking forward to season two, and I'm glad it got picked up, because there was definitely a possibility if maybe at 1 million less that it wouldn't have gotten picked up, because it did drop a lot of viewership because of the slowness of the beginning of the season.
Yeah. My opinion of the show as a whole is that first episode was fast, upbeat, and got everyone into it straight away.
Yeah, definitely.
And then from there, it kind of went down. It slowed down, and then peaked up again, slowed down, peaked up again, slowed down, and then peaked up to finish. Some of the stories in it I really quite liked, and the mystery about Tahiti I really quite enjoyed. But as a whole, I think it was a show that was ambitious, paid off in the end, and I'm glad that it's getting a second season, but needs to learn from its mistakes on the second season from the first one.
I totally agree with everything you just said. I think it learned its mistakes. It just needs to keep going with season two, and I think it could be. I don't think it's going to gain that viewership again, but at least it could be a show that could last a couple of seasons.
Exactly. We'll hope for it. Obviously they're bringing out Agent Carter now, which is going to be experimental at the best of times.
Yeah, because it's going to be a mid-season, which is really interesting, and I think they really are experimenting with characters are lesser known, and I like that they're doing that. And I think a mid-season was actually a really good idea because you don't want to have Agent Carter on Monday and then Wednesday, let's say, Agent Shield. It's a little bit too much.
A little bit
going on. I'm glad they did it during hiatus.
So what with your, like we did with Arrow, what are your two favourite moments from that series and two least favourite moments from that series?
First favorite moment, I would say the Sky mystery. I really want to know what she is. That's the first thing I really liked. And then I would say the second one was Ward. Just being shocked by what happened to him and him being a traitor. And I like that they didn't bring him back on the team. Yeah. I feel like it would have been really stupid if they did. I had a feeling they might have, but I was like, good, they didn't, because that would be stupid. The story arc would have been a waste. So glad that they went that direction. What I hated, it took way too long for them to get their footing. It took them really 3/4 of the show to do that. And there, again, as a Marvel fan, I almost dropped the show. And I caught up, but I just was getting lazy with it because I just wasn't excited for it anymore. And then I would say some of the cameos could have been better. Like, I didn't really like the Sif cameo. I thought that episode was kind of boring. There are boring episodes like that. So those are kind of my least favorite of the season.
Okay. Well, my two favorites, again, my overall, the Tahiti mystery and Sky's, and what Sky is, that was one of my favorite moments, the actual mysteries around the series. And also showing how some villains started, like they showed how Graviton started, which I thought that a kind of change in tone from Coulson was actually pretty cool, to show that he is willing to sacrifice a life to save everyone else, which I thought was quite like a polar dynamic from like what he normally was. And then but then one of the things that I hated, I didn't like the way they were going of like trying to lull you into a false sense of security with Ward and Sky, with like the love story, which.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I guess they were just doing it. They did it for a reason.
For a reason. But I was like saying, please don't do this. And then the second thing that I really didn't like was the episodes where it took a massive leap away from the main continuity. Like like one of the episodes when they went to a school, although it is tied in somehow, that just like shook. I was like, wait, I was watching something else last week. Why are we at a school this week? And then something about a weather machine, and there were episodes that were completely forgettable and some that were really memorable. And that was pretty much one of them, a forgettable episode that tried to tie into the continuity. And I think made the show suffer for it as well. I mean, if you were a new fan, you just turn on the episode, you're like, yeah, I don't want to watch that again.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that just kind of, even just comic book friends, like a lot of people I work with for like Comic Frontline who just said, why am I watching this show? I'm like, just get up to after Captain America, you'll be happy. But if I didn't watch those episodes, I'd be like, yeah, just give up on it. And like, again, there was a time where I did give up on the show because it was getting really boring.
Yeah. Overall, it was a pleasant series, and I'm glad it actually came out of it in the end.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm excited for season 2. I think I'll be a lot more pumped up.
So, going from live action, I would like to speak with you honestly about something that has bugged me ever since it started, which was, we all love the 2005, like the 2005 series of Teen Titans. We all love them.
Of course.
What confuses me is the fact that they take such a promising series of like a premise, and then they flush it down the toilet in the childlike animation series of Teen Titans Go. Why is it that this show is still running when it really, really isn't that good? It just confuses the heck out of me.
It confuses me too. I remember when the first episode came out, I was not excited to watch it. But since I was, a big Young Justice reviewer, I was like, all right, let me give this show a try. I watch it, and it was right before I had a live show. And I remember I was just kind of rushing to do it. And I just ranted the whole time. Like, all they did was talk about fart jokes and, like, stupid jokes. And honestly, I don't know why it's on the air. I think because maybe it sells toys. Like, how do you cancel a show like Young Justice and then go to Teen Titans Go? They obviously have some sort of... Because I heard from an interview that I think Paul Dini did. I think it was Paul Dini who did it. He had a show called Tower Prep. It's actually a really good show. It's one of the only live-action Cartoon Network shows.
Yeah.
And it was based on, like, kind of superhero mystery. If you like Morning Glories, you would like it. So he was saying that the show got canceled not because of ratings. It was because families started watching it. And they do not want families to watch. They only want 8-year-old boys to watch. They don't want girls, and they don't want families. So Young Justice started getting families and girls and older people to watch. So they canceled it. So now the Teen Titans Go has their target audience of 8-year-old boys. They're keeping it. And that really sucks because they're just trying to sell toys, and that's their thing. They don't even care about ratings. So yeah, it's really weird.
I mean... I've just rewatched Young Justice, and it reminded me of how good the series, how good it was, and what I found, it's terribly disappointing that of the potential that could have been for season 3, following the fallout of season 2. That was one of the shows. I mean, it's been off the air for a while. I mean, everyone can say, "Oh, we want it back," but inevitably, it's not really going to come back.
Exactly.
But I think the great tragedy is that although, like you said, they weren't aiming for a family audience and then it got cancelled, was the fact that something like a similar show to like Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which I really loved, and it cancelled to be replaced with a really immature series like Avengers Assemble. I'm like, it just
like I can't even watch an episode of that. Like also Hulk's Agents of Smash, all those. I can't even sit through an episode.
They are awful. I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man just rubs me up the wrong way on set.
Yeah, same.
And then Hulk, I just don't watch because whatever. I
saw the first episode and like the shots they do, it's so weird. I don't even know how kids have the attention span to watch those type of shows.
I mean, it's all made by the same company, which is like Man of Action, which is all fine, all well and good, but it just I mean, you're trying to get comic book fans, and obviously they're aiming for a childlike audience. But I'm like, some of these kids won't get this. I mean, they'd like introduce. I mean, I heard that they introduced like the Herald of Galactus, and I'm like, there are kids who are not even going to know who he is unless they give some half-assed excuse on the show, like saying, "Oh, he's a super evil bad guy." Yeah.
And they probably would say it that way too. Honestly, with those type of shows.
I think it's just a shame because of all the potential of all the lineage and history that they've had to go on from the past, that they bring out shows like this that are so disrespectful to that a legacy in a way. Like,
Yeah, I agree with you because think about it. Like the shows we watched as a kid, Batman the Anime Series, Batman Beyond,
mm,
X-Men Evolution, those shows are Static Shock. Those shows brought us into comics and they were really well told stories. I honestly had an urge to watch X-Men Evolution after I saw last night X-Men because I was like, I kind of want to see a good Kitty Pryde that had a good portrayal of Kitty Pryde. I'll probably watch it tonight sometime. And yeah, those shows got us into comics. I don't think Avengers Assemble is going to do that because the story's not intriguing. And when they go back to it 10 years, they're going to be like, why the hell did I like this show?
yeah. Before Ultimate Spider-Man, we had Spectacular Spider-Man. Before,
Yeah, Greg Weisman show, who also wrote Young Justice, you know?
yeah, before Teen Titans Go, you had Young Justice and Teen Titans, two great shows, and then you get that, and then you get Hulk, which honestly I have no idea where that came from, what they were thinking of.
Yeah, and then She-Hulk is not a lawyer.
No, she's a stunt driver.
That just made me laugh, and that's when I just shut off the show, and I'm like, this is so stupid.
Do you want to? I actually, when I saw that, I just clicked off the show and I just walked out.
Yeah, I mean, I gave it, I think, 3 episodes, which I don't know why I did. And then I said in my review, I'm like, why the hell am I reviewing this show? I really don't like it. I said the same thing with Batman, Beware the Batman. I gave it like 3 episodes, and I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of done with this because I don't like it. I'm actually like forcing myself to watch this show to review it. And I don't think that's right. And I don't think you guys want to see that either. So when I see a show like that, and mostly it's those animated shows, I just quit.
It's a different generation of viewership. I mean, we were lucky enough to live in the golden age of those kind of shows. I mean,
oh, definitely. We had so many shows, just to name them off the bat. It's definitely true.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorites was obviously Avengers, but also you had Justice League when that was on the air. I mean,
yeah, Superman, Batman the Anime Series. Again, even the Batman wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that bad. I've watched it every once in a while. Yeah, there were so many great shows. Marvel. I mean, Marvel probably had a little less, but I loved X-Men Evolution. We had X-Men, Spectacular Spider-Man, Spider-Man the Anime Series. They had good shows too. So yeah, it's weird to see now that the kids that are living in the golden age of superheroes that are like comics are cool now are getting these horrible shows.
Yeah. Well, we can. I mean, like I said, we were lucky enough to watch all of those, and it's our memories that bring us back to like hating these new ones. So maybe they can make some good quality programming. So kind of bringing this all to like a close. So I'm going to ask you. I know your all-time favorite character is a torn battle between Spider-Girl and Kitty Pryde.
Well, it's definitely Spider-Girl, but Kitty Pryde's definitely my second favorite.
All right, so I'm going to ask you to do a test. So I'm going to ask you to give me your favorite character. I'm going to ask you one that you hate the most, and then one character that you think that will get the most, that you want the most boost for the next year or so in the comics. Which one? Give me those 3 names.
All right, so favorite, I would say Spider-Girl, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Least favorite, Cyclops. I really don't like him. Or Namor. Not a big fan of both of those two. And what I want to see a boost with is Kitty Pryde. I would like to see maybe like her get her own solo series because I feel like she deserves it.
I think for me, my favorite character of all time, honestly, I have to say Miss Marvel because I mean Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
it's like so weird to say that now. It's like, oh no, not Kamala Khan, no, Miss Carol Danvers. Like,
I think people still think it's Carol Danvers. Like, I knew you were gonna say like when you said Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers, but I think maybe newer readers like, oh, you mean like the new Miss Marvel? Like, no, Carol Danvers was Miss Marvel way
before then. I think the one character that I hate the most, for a varied reason, but I'll give the reason in a second. Although it pains me to say it, although I loved him when I was a kid, and I'm glad he's dying this year, is actually Wolverine.
I can see that. I think he needs to die because he's been way too nice as Wolverine. Like, they've changed his character a little bit too much.
Yeah.
I can see that. I like Wolverine. He's not one of my favorite characters, but I can see why you hate him.
I think I'm glad that they're killing him off for at least a year or so. Just give us a year without him.
He really needs it.
But like, I'm not saying it's the overexposure. It's also the style of writing and the style of artwork. And I'm like, no, it's the fact that Marvel think that if they introduce a new title in any universe, they think, oh, this would just dump like Wolverine in it and it will get readers. And I think they've got lazy on that fact. The fact that they reintroduced Wolverine in the X-Men, and then they just said, oh yes, Wolverine in the X-Men issue number 1 of, like, obviously we have that other series in the past, but forget that one. But you also have Wolverine, and you have Savage Wolverine. I'm like, give it a rest. I mean, this character needs to die for a while.
I totally agree. He needs to go back maybe like 5 years, because after Schism he got a little bit too nice. He got too much. I mean, before Schism, I think he had even more titles, but just next to Deadpool. But I agree. He needs to die for a little while.
The one character who I want to get a push, although I want to see Scarlet Witch get more of a push, because although she's on Uncanny Avengers, and I love reading her in that, and the relationship she has with Rogue, I just think, although I'm glad she's being brought back to life, hopefully, from what I've seen in the comics, I just wanted to show, I wanted to put her in a better book, because although I like Uncanny, she's not getting the kind of the publication that she probably should get. I mean,
Uncanny's a very under the radar book. Like, I honestly, for a while, I didn't even know Wasp was alive until I'm like, oh, she's in this title.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, is like they bring like some weird, like they brought, I can't remember his name, but they brought Wonder Man in, and I was like, Wonder Man's still alive? And I'm like, yeah.
All the people you think are dead are in Uncanny Avengers right now.
Uncanny is, like you said, one of those books that is surprising. I mean, it's very good, and like I said, give Scarlet Witch a boost, because yes, she's in a film next year, but the fact that she's a great character as well to build off of, that she deserves to be in a better book, or in more books than this, which that's just generally my opinion, really. For the final part of the show, I want you to personally recommend a comic series for the audience to go ahead, and I will recommend one in a second, but I want you to give the audience one series that they should really jump on, or one that's passed already, but one that they really enjoy reading.
You know, one that passed already, I was going to recommend Ms. Marvel, but I feel like that hasn't had enough issues. But one that passed already, if you're reading Batman Eternal, you know Stephanie Brown just returned. One of my favorite characters, too. She's definitely my top 5. She's an awesome character. I recommend, if you want to see why she's so awesome, go to Batgirl, Brian Q. Miller's series.
Woo! So I love that series.
Super fun. Yeah, I love that series. So go check that out.
Yeah. One that I would personally recommend, I would recommend Ms. Marvel just because of how good it is. And also Elektra as well. Just get on that and see how it goes. But one that I would recommend that's kind of passed but has gone into a new title was Avengers Academy when that was out. I mean, I've only just started reading it, but it's actually really well done. I mean, it kind of deals with the fact that these kids that were actually had like a simple like mutation, like a simple problem, like a power that they weren't really in control of, and then they were tortured by Norman Osborn to like reach their full potential, and then they're taken into this academy where they're like saying, "Oh yeah, you're being trained for the next Avengers," where they're actually being kept an eye on because they thought they were going to be the next supervillains, and it's about changing their image and how to change that. And there was some good character dynamics between the two, like between some of the characters. I mean, Hazmat has become one of my favorite characters just because of the way she was written. And in the new series, like Avengers, they had Avengers
Undercover.
Yeah, they have Avengers Undercover, which has just started. Avengers Undercover has just started to get good as well. I mean, I think Avengers Academy is where everyone has to start because although it goes, you have to ignore the Fear itself tie-in. But it was just a very good series. I mean, it was very good. It was a character relatable. That's the thing for me.
I will recommend both those series also. I think I didn't really love Avengers Arena, but Undercover is getting pretty good. And I read a couple Avengers Academy issues, and they were pretty good also.
So, thank you so much for coming on the show again, Kamikuno, because I was a fool the last time because I I accidentally lost the last interview. So, it was really good to come, like, really have a good chat with you and talk about good things like comics, TV, and animation. But
had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really fun talking to you. So for all those watching, go out and subscribe to Kamikuno's channel. She's very, very informative, and she does loads of different reviews. And also go and watch Comic Frontline because they're a good little brand new group, and they're very honest reviewers. So if you want an honest review system, go to Comic Frontline. So, all in all, everyone, thank you very much for listening to Superhero Podcast, and until next time, see you, folks.